Welcome to V is for Victory, a podcast about how small businesses overcome big battles. I'm your host, Jill Miller of Vera Creative, a boutique marketing firm in the Chicagoland area where I'm also a part-time professor of an advertising course. Join me as I talk with entrepreneurs about the challenges they face as well as their strategies for success. Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 20 of V is for Victory. I do not have a guest for you. I wanted to just jump on and talk a little bit about something else that I do aside from marketing. So I know I've mentioned several times that I teach at a university. I teach an advertising course, and that's fun. But for I don't even know how long. I think 11 years now. I've also been teaching yoga, and so I just wanted to come and talk a little bit about that because it's kind of a different beast than marketing, but at the same time, like as a yoga teacher, you still have to know how to market yourself and all the things that go into being an entrepreneur really rear their head regardless of what you do when you're an independent contractor. So, okay. Yoga. Yes, I started practicing in 2003. I did dance, tap and jazz when I was a young child for 10 years. And I also was a competitive gymnast for 10 years. And I had quite a few injuries, when I quit gymnastics. That's kind of why I quit. My body was pretty beat up. I was actually supposed to go to, University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire and compete on their team, but at the last minute, I decided to move to Chicago, and life just went in a completely different direction. So I did not compete in college. I competed through high school, and I graduated in 2000 from high school. And so by 2003, I had found yoga. I was teaching at a gymnastics gym in Wilmette, and one of my fellow teachers was into Bikram yoga at the time. Bikram yoga is really the original hot yoga, 103 degrees, lots of humidity, 26 poses, 13 standing, 13 on the ground. Same class every single time you go. Teacher speaks from a script. Definitely has its benefits. And so I went and I took my first class. I believe we went to a studio in Bucktown, in the city of Chicago, and I took my first class in 2003-ish, and then I found a studio that was a little bit closer to me and where I lived on the north side that offered the same style of yoga, and I practiced Bikram, I don't even know how many years, but it was like maybe a year or 2 years when the studio started offering Baptiste Power Vinyasa yoga, which was a nice compliment to Bikram because Baptiste yoga is also done in a heated room with some humidity. But it's a vinyasa flow class, and so it's a little bit different every single time, and the whole philosophy and approach to teaching is very different. And we got to explore like back bends and splits and handstands, and so as a former gymnast, I was really, really drawn to that style of yoga. I'm not going to get into Baron Baptiste's background because I don't want to misspeak or mess anything up, but if you Google Baron Baptiste, you can read a little bit about his parents and how they were yoga teachers in San Francisco and how he got started in his journey and some of the famous yogis that he trained under. But so I started, I did Baptiste yoga for about 10 years, and then I decided to finally get certified as a teacher. So in June of 2010, I went to the Catskills, the mountains in New York, and I went to my level 1 teacher training. It was a week-long training with Baron and about 100 other people. Beautiful, beautiful land owned by monks, just, rustic cabin retreat. a very minimal, I don't even know if there was cell phone service. I don't remember. But it was a week-long training. And I came back from that and I started practice teaching. I remember I had a student that I did privates with, and the studio that I had practiced at for many years was nice enough to let me start teaching to just friends, and then eventually start assisting other teachers that had the same certification, and then start assisting in a class, and then eventually start teaching. But there's, at that time, now Baptistas, they've changed their program a lot, but at the time, you had to complete level 2 teacher training, which was another week-long immersion before you could become actually certified. And so in May of 2011, I went to Maya Tulum, Mexico, and spent a week there, again, training under Baron. And again, I think there was like close to 100 people at that training as well. And just kind of took the next step in the journey of becoming an empowered teacher. And then after I got back from level 2, I started the reading and the writing intensive portion of becoming certified. I had to submit a video of me teaching, and I think I received like 3 pages of feedback, including how I say the word toes. Because apparently I still have a heavy Wisconsin accent when I say that word, and they didn't like that. So I just remember like that was like the one thing that stuck out at me, like, okay, don't have an accent, which was just kind of funny. But anyways, I officially became certified in March of 2012. And then in October of 2013, I became a member of the Yoga Alliance. So since then, I've done some other things. I've helped lead a weekend intensive called the Art of Assisting. I've attended the Advanced Art of Assisting. I've taught classes and obviously workshops at the studio that I practiced at for many, many years in Chicago. I've been part of teacher trainings. I taught, and the teachers in training, I taught them an assisting module at a different studio in Chicago, and it's just been a part of my life in one way or another for many years now. So, where does that lead me? When I grew up and became an adult and moved to the suburbs, it got pretty hard to travel to and from the city. I had to cut my teaching hours at the studio back by, I think I was going in once a week, and then I would teach 2 back-to-back classes just to make the drive worth it. And then I had baby, and things changed again, and it became even harder to really carve out the time. So I kind of was more focused on just workshops, and in my workshops, again, because of that gymnastics piece, a lot of the advanced asanas, that means pose, asana is Sanskrit for pose. A lot of the advanced asanas just come really easy to me. I can see something and typically just do it. There's not much of a learning curve for me. So that's really what my focus had been on for workshops. And just kind of taking a little bit different approach to teaching, like a little bit of my gymnastics, because I was a gymnastics coach for many, many years too. So just taking what I've learned as a coach and how to approach the same pose or the same skill from many, many different angles, because everybody learns differently, and some visual cues and some verbal cues connect with one person, and then it won't connect with another, so you have to find a different way to describe it. So anyway, so that's what a lot of my workshops focused on. And then really the studio that I teach at is no longer, unfortunately. And I've taught, they don't have an in-person studio, I should say. They're definitely still doing philanthropic work, donation-based classes via Zoom, meeting up in outdoor spaces when the weather permits. So I have done a couple Zoom classes. But other than that, it's kind of taken a little, my teaching anyways, has kind of taken a little bit of a back seat. But it provides me a lot, like as a marketer, I sit at home and I'm home alone and everybody thinks working from home is so great, but it gets lonely, especially after doing it for 10 years or 11. I don't even know how many years it's been now, but I think we're going on 11 or maybe 12. And so yoga is always a great way just to get out and connect with people face to face and, really just be around like-minded people. And then obviously a way to just share like a different side of me and things that I've just kind of come to realize over the years. And so I guess like it's nice that I have this certification and this other job, I guess you could say, because it really fulfills me in a way that the marketing does not. And I think that that's really important. And I think a lot of people, like, they look to their job to provide them way more things than a job can really provide them. And so, something to kind of keep in mind, but that's a whole different podcast, I also feel like. But that's a conversation I've had several times with many different people and clients. So marketing, unfortunately, right now is really slow. Again, it's another thing that became a lot harder to grow when I moved out into the suburbs. When I was living in the city, I just saw a lot more people. I met with clients a lot more, which exposed me to a lot more other business owners, and things just really, they picked up at a much more rapid pace. And now that I'm out in the suburbs, it's just a little bit of a different situation. And so one of my goals actually has been to lead a yoga retreat. And I'm actually really fascinated by the silent aspect. I think it was in our level 2. We had to go, like we were instructed one night to like go and not talk to anybody, and then get up in the morning and go have breakfast and not talk to anybody, and then meet back in the practice room and still not talk to anybody. So it was like maybe, 8 hours of silence. You don't get a lot of sleep at these trainings. So it was maybe like 8 hours of like total silence. And it was a really, really powerful experience. I can't really describe it, but if you imagine like 100 people being in the same place at the same time, but nobody talking, it's just, it's something you have to experience for yourself. So I've always wanted to focus my yoga retreats on as a silent yoga retreat, and really like only just a day, like from sunup to sundown. But I have all these ideas and all these things that I can incorporate to help people decompress and to help people really just connect inwards and just take a day to listen. We spend so much of our time consuming and reading and looking and talking and not really listening. And it's just a powerful experience that I really want to share with people. And in the past, I've tried to do 2 other retreats, and they're tricky, like you have to rent the space and you have to put up the money for the space before you know that people are going to sign up for it. And then most spaces have some type of cancellation policy. So then you also have to kind of navigate that. And the whole logistics are very tricky. And so neither of the retreats have worked out so far, but it's just not something that I'm willing to give up. And I'm really trying to just grow, grow the whole idea of a silent retreat, because I think at first it can be like a turnoff for people. People are really comforted by noise. They get really uncomfortable in silence when it's just you having to face your fears or deal with your shit. Like, people, they don't want to do it. And why would they want to pay to do it? But for those of you out there listening, I know what I'm saying resonates with somebody, at least one person, on a small level. And you're thinking, you know what? Yeah, it might not be what I want to do, but I know it's what I need to do. It might be kind of scary. I don't know what's going to come up for me when I'm alone with my thoughts for a day. I don't know what kind of anxiety I'm going to experience if I can't check my Instagram or create a TikTok for a day. But hey, it could be pretty good for me. So I'm not willing to give it up yet. I'm looking for a way to still pull it off this year. It's tricky because we're getting towards the end of my now second pregnancy, and I don't really want to be too far from home or, on a silent retreat if something were to happen with the pregnancy. So I'm due at the beginning of June, and I'm trying to kind of work around that date, and also have to have time to recover after baby and get into a new routine. And so I don't want to schedule it too soon after either. But, and then the other thing is, like, over the years, my following is really, it's in Wisconsin, it's in Indiana, and it's in the city, in Chicago. So that's hard too, trying to pick a location that might be helpful, or like might be doable for people, where there's not a ton of driving. But yeah, so silent retreat, that is my goal when it comes to my right now yoga teaching career. What else have I done? After the studio closed, I created some audio yoga classes, and I've got those up on a website. There's one meditation there as well. And that website is also where you can learn about the retreat once I get it squared away. And you can read my bio, and it's just, and I like to pair an essential oil with a practice. So all the audio yoga classes, they, based on kind of the theme of the class, there is an essential oil if you're into that thing that you can diffuse or roll on your wrists or roll at the top of your mat, that just kind of enhance the practice a little bit. So I've been working on that, and then I've also decided that I should just connect more in person, because I think yoga is just this powerful thing that needs to be done more so in person. And so I want to start offering private classes, either in my basement, which is not like the most glamorous setup. I'm going to, be really forthcoming there, but definitely doable, definitely works, or on my back patio. And the back is kind of nice, but not everybody likes to do yoga outside. So that's another thing that I just put up on my website recently. And this is my yoga website, not my marketing website. And I will link the URL in the episode notes, so you guys can check that out if you have any interest. But so offering privates is just a way to again kind of fulfill that bucket of human connection, and sharing my passion of yoga, and obviously just creating more context so that if anybody is interested then in joining the silent retreat, they can do that as well. And they already know me and know what my teaching style is like, and know that I'm going to bring my A game to this retreat, and it's just going to be so wonderful. So you might not have known that I was a yoga teacher, and I just threw a lot of information at you there, but I just wanted to pop on here and share that side of me, because again, if I don't share it, then nobody knows about it. And I really think that the retreats are something that I would definitely want to grow. Maybe start offering them, not so locally and doing bigger retreats where we can go to some fabulous island. And oh, that's my dog shaking. That's like the long-term goal, but I need you all to help me get to that point. And so first step is just sharing this side of me, sharing that I have this passion and I have this capability to teach and to offer audio classes and in-person privates, as well as yoga retreats. So that's it. That's all I really wanted to say to you guys today. Just doggy barking. Just a short, sweet podcast about that. I have an exciting guest whom you may already know lined up for next month. So make sure you're staying tuned to that. And then remember that at any point in time, this is like an ongoing contest. At any point in time, you can share any episode and tag my social media page, and you're automatically entered to win coffee. I'll send you a gift card to your email. And you just need to make sure that you're following my social page. So if you're tagging me on Facebook, make sure you follow me on Facebook. If you're tagging me on Instagram, make sure you're following me on Instagram. Because if you don't follow first, I don't believe I see the tag. So and you could take a screenshot of any episode, or you can hit the share button and share it straight to Instagram or any other social media site. So so that's it, folks. That's it for episode 20. Keep in mind, I am a yoga teacher. If yoga is not your jam, funny story. Like when I used to rent out a little space on a more regular basis and teach, and it went really well, and I would promote it on other like Facebook group pages and stuff. But I've since moved away and it's not worth the drive anymore. But anyways, so during that time, I would get like comments when I would share what I was up to and try to promote it on other Facebook pages, like group pages. I would get comments like, everyone's a yoga teacher, can't you teach something else? Which just kind of makes me laugh, because it's like, well, no, because I take my certification pretty seriously, and I'm not going to teach something that I'm not certified in. Like, could I teach some other type of strength or stretching or, combination of dance yoga class? Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure I could, but I have no such certification in those things, and I just like to stick to what I know. So if you're thinking you've already got your yoga people, your teachers that you like, then just share this with somebody. I'm sure the private lessons are great for beginners who really want a deeper understanding and to move a little slower to learn the poses. And they're great for people with injuries who need to learn modifications for poses. And again, they're great for people that really want to advance their practice and take time just to work on certain poses like arm balances or inversions. So even if you don't fit into any of those boxes, you may know somebody who does. And so if you could just share with them my yoga website, this podcast, that would be greatly appreciated. I also have a Facebook page just for the yoga. I admittedly don't update it as much as I probably should, but I will link that in the episode notes as well. So again, for episode 20, that is a wrap. Don't forget to enter the contest, screenshot or share any episode and tag me, and then don't forget to tune in to episode 21, where we chat once again with Sheila Peterson of Love Change.